Christianity created universe, wait billions of years, create a man out of mud and woman out of that man, tell them not to do something that you know they are going to do, then threat them with death, and then when they do it, don't kill them, just make their life difficult, then go through the comedy of errors of having people fall and fail to love you or listen to you or obey you over and over, flood the world, start over again, confuse their languages in order to try to start over again, encourage war, gradually go from walking and talking with them to not interacting in any detectable way, and then magically impregnate young girls so that you can take human form as sort of god-man, that's fully god but fully man, which doesn't actually make sense, so that you can sacrifice yourself to yourself as blood magic loophole for rules you are charge of, so you can set aside your own anger because that's the thing that we're being saved from is God's wrath, and it's just somehow justice, and then accept future generation to believe without sufficient evidence. Anyways, next religion is Hinduism. Create eternal universe that goes through endless cycle of creation and destruction, filled with millions of gods, demigods, avatars, demons, and cosmic beings too complicated that nobody can fully agree on who's actually in charge. Then introduce cosmic rule system called karma, where every creation is every life determines what happens in your next life. Now create a humans and tell them life is basically a giant spiritual exam. If they behave well, maybe next time they'll come back and sometimes better. If not, they might be returned as something worse. Repeat this rebirth process potentially thousands of millions of times. Then add complicated social system where people are born in different roles that they are supposed to accept because, well, karma from previous life apparently decided. Also create sacred texts written across thousands of years that don't always agree with each other but are all somehow important. Whenever things get really chaotic, send a god down as avatar to fix the situation temporarily. Do this several times in different forms: fish, turtle, prince, blue flute, playing a guy, each one solving cosmic problem for a while. Meanwhile, tell people that the ultimate goal isn't actually fixing the world, it's escaping the entire system by realizing that the universe and the self are somehow the same things and dissolving back into the cosmic absolute. So the final object of the whole game of life is basically play the karma rebirth cycle for countless lifetimes until you figure out the trick that lets you quit the game entirely. So next religion is Islam. Create a universe and humans with the main purpose of worshipping you. Send a long line of prophets, whole history telling people the same basic message: their own God, follow the rules, stop worshipping other gods. Watch most communities ignoring this message, distort it or replace it with their own religion. Keep sending more prophets anyway. Eventually send the final prophet with the final message delivering through angel over about 23 years. This message becomes the final instruction manual for humanity. Explain that life is test, everyone gets one life, and their behavior during this short exam determines their eternal outcome. Write down every specific rules about prayer, schedules, fasting, charity, diet, inheritance, laws, war rules, marriage rules, and daily behavior, because apparently the creator of the entire cosmos also cares a lot about how exactly people wash before a prayer. They explain that at the end of the time there will be final judgment day where every action, word, and even thought gets evaluated. If you pass the test, you get eternal paradise with perfect happiness forever. If you fail, you get eternal punishment. Also, make believe in message itself one of the key parts is passing the test. And finally, expect billions of future humans who never meet their prophet and only know the story through texts and tradition to accept that this final revelation is the correct one among thousands of competing religions, claims thousands of history. So next religion is Buddhism. Start with the idea that the existence itself is basically unsatisfying, everything changes, nothing lasts, and people keep suffering because they are constantly wanting things. Now introduce a cycle where beings are reborn over and over again, not because God decided, but because desire and ignorance somehow keep the cycle running automatically. Then have a prince who grows up in extreme luxury, suddenly discover that people get old, sick, and die. This completely shocks even though those things were happening literally everywhere. He abandons his royal life, tries extreme self-torture for enlightenment, nearly dies from starvation, decides that not working, sits under the tree, and finally figures out that ultimate truth about reality. The conclusion: life is suffering. Suffering comes from desire. Stop desire things and you can escape the entire cycle of birth. So now the goal of existence becomes following a detailed path of right thinking, right behavior, right meditation, and gradually removing attachment of literally everything. Eventually, if you do it perfectly, you reach enlightenment and exit the rebirth cycle entirely. Entire state called nirvana, that's often described in a way that mostly sound like not existing in the normal sense anymore. And after that realization, thousands of monks and philosophers spend centuries arguing about exactly what that actually means. So next religion is Judaism. Create the universe and humanity. Humans immediately messed things up, so kick them out of the perfect garden and let them world becomes difficult. Watch humanity continues doing terrible things until eventually deciding the whole planet needs to reset, so flood the world and start again with one family. People still keep doing their own thing, so scatter them by confusing all the language. Pick them one random guy, make special agreement with him, and promise that his descendants will become chosen nation with special relationship to the creator of the universe. Of time, this turns into a long story where this small group of people repeatedly breaks those promises. Deliver huge list of commandments and laws, hundreds of them, covering everything from worship rules to diet to agriculture to clothing. Guide the chosen people, punish them when they disobey, allow them to be conquered or exiled by empires when things go badly, and then sometimes bring them back again, and the entire system continues for thousands of years while believers wait for future Messiah age where things will finally be set right. So next religion is no religion. Start with absolutely nothing special, just the universe existing, no plan, no intention, no cosmic personality watching over it. Let physics run its course, energy expands, start forms, galaxy collides, and for billions of years the universe does its things without caring whether life over appears or not. Eventually on one small planet, chemistry becomes complicated enough to accidentally create self-replicating molecules. These slowly evolve into simple life. Over a few billions of years, through trial and errors and lot of extinction events, evolution produces plants, animals, and eventually special smart enough to ask questions about where everything came from. Those humans notice storms, deaths, disease, and bright sky, and since they don't understand any of it yet, they start inventing stories about gods, spirits, and cosmic plans, and explain what's going on. Different cultures create a different version of this explanation. Thousands of religions, each convinced it figured out the real answer. Meanwhile, science gradually starts figuring out how things actually work: gravity, evolution, atoms, galaxies, brains. As knowledge increases, many of the things once explained by gods turns out to be natural processes. So from this perspective, the universe isn't a story written for humans, it's just a very large system following physical laws, where consciousness creatures appearing by chance and now try to understand it. No cosmic test, no chosen people, no final judgment, just a short life in a huge universe where meaning is something humans created for themselves. Like and comment will be so good for me.